Turning the pages of history to 1984, Flight JL-50 embarks from Kolkata in India, only for its odyssey to be abruptly disrupted by horrendous turbulence and loss of any form of communication. Soon the flight vanishes, leaving no trails or clues to its whereabouts. Fast forward to 2019, an enigmatic sight unfolds in West Bengal. A startling low-flying aircraft captivates the nearby village children in awe. Tracking its course, they discover the plane tumbled in the heart of the hills. As the news breaks out in present-day Kolkata, Shantanu, a viewer and a senior officer at the Central Bureau of Investigations, CBI, learns about the disappearance of a high-stakes flight, a 26. Assigned to the baffling case of AO-26 and accompanied by his partner Gango, Shantanu finds himself at the West Bengal crash location. A debriefing from a soldier reveals the unsettling reality that all but the pilot and a single passenger have perished on this flight, both undergoing medical treatments. The abnormal presence of the passenger in the cockpit compels them to believe the flight had been hijacked. The plot thickens when it's disclosed that the fallen aircraft isn't A-26 at all, but the missing JL-50 from over 3.5 decades ago. The storyline takes us back to 1984, presenting Bihu, an ambitious young woman gearing up to pilot JL-50. Carrying a weighty past, she's advised by her mother to move forward despite her melancholy state. In the present, Bihu is discovered surviving amidst the airplane wreckage, receiving medical attention. Shantanu and Gorango then set course to an isolated village, seeking an audience with Professor Subroto Das, a physics scholar who possesses an untaken seat on the missing JL-50. Their records show his name against the seat, leading them to interrogate him on foregoing the flight. It's been an age since he last remembered, or so he claims. Yet when Doss returns home, he hurriedly sets about the task of eliminating a pile of documents and photographs, hinting at a secret. Adding fuel to the fire, a news broadcast reveals a terrorist outfit known as the ABA to be accountable for commandeering Flight A-26. Their leader, Partho Majumdar, is set for execution in a short while, and the ABA is advocating for his freedom. Later, Shantanu introduces himself to Bihu, who has just regained consciousness. He's curious about the circumstances that led to the tragic demise of Flight JL-50. Bihu discloses that a disorderly passenger had burst into the cockpit during the flight, ending her co-pilot's life with a blade and demanding the plane be navigated to certain coordinates. Once they entered those coordinates, they were met with dreadful weather conditions, which ultimately culminated in a communications blackout and their crashing. When Shantanu inquires about the departure date and location, she reveals it's Kolkata, 1984. Shantanu doesn't believe her. He thinks that, for some reason, all the details of Flight JL-50 are being fabricated exactly the same as 35 years ago. He just doesn't know why. He conveys his suspicions to Bihu and informs her of the current year being 2019, leaving her shell-shocked. In an effort to unravel more about Bihu's past, Shantanu and Gango go around her old neighborhood, where they converse with one of her previous neighbors. Bihu was once envisioned to soar high as a pilot, but her life took a tragic downfall when she had a relationship with an army officer who mysteriously died after getting her pregnant out of wedlock. It caused great embarrassment to Bihu's parents. Adding to her sorrow, she gave birth to a stillborn child. Shantanu is shown a photograph of Bihu taken shortly prior to JL-50's departure in 1984. The striking resemblance between the Bihu in the hospital and the one in the photograph leaves him mystified. Undeterred by these shocking similarities, he continues to investigate. Upon hearing the black box recording of JL-50, the narrative mirrors Bihu's story, and the last recorded date reads August 23, 1984. Still puzzled by the circumstances, Shantanu continues his probe. In the meantime, the second survivor of JL-50, named Mitra, wakes up in the hospital, and when he learns that the year is 2019, he becomes deliriously happy. He learns from the nurse that the pilot of the flight has also survived, and his expression turns serious. He sneaks into Bihu's room and attempts to kill her by suffocation, but fortunately, a nurse arrives in time to stop him. At this juncture, Shantanu appears on the scene, only to uncover that the man, Mitra, has now ensnared the nurse to make his furtive exit. Shantanu frantically delves into Mitra's past, unraveling his life as a physics prodigy in 1984, involved with research at the renowned Kolkata Science Research Center, as well as holding connections with infamous separatist outfits like ABA. Shantanu unearths Mitra's ancient dwelling place and forages through his abandoned scientific documents. Intriguingly, amidst this forgotten archive, he stumbles upon Project A, a blueprint of the flight JL-50 that they had been on, instigating a suspicion of an intricate connection binding these elements. This leads him to the hallowed hallways of the Kolkata Science Research Center and to a conversation with a certain Professor Ashwin, who provides a gripping exposition upon hearing the term Project A. Ashwin narrates an ancient tale from the time of the great Emperor Ashok in 253 BC, detailing how the monarch, witnessing the manipulation of science and philosophy for human obliteration, pooled the wisdom of renowned scientists, philosophers, and scholars across the nation into 9 coveted volumes, concealing them deep beneath the earth to save humanity from its destructive potential. These books were repositories of profound insights, ranging from psychological manipulation of the masses and rare martial arts for lethal combats, to advanced capabilities like flight, extraterrestrial communication, and even the esoteric art of time travel. Centuries later, remnants of the book on time travel resurfaced, leading to an assembly of experts to authenticate the theory under the title of Project A. However, the endeavor bore no fruits. His curiosity about Mitra piqued. Shantanu inquires about him, leading Ashwin to reveal Mitra as a reserved individual during his time at the research center, with limited knowledge about him. He, however, suggests Shantanu to contact Professor Subroto Das, owing to their close association. As Subroto Das becomes the new point of Shantanu's investigation, he realizes that Subo had been deceptive about having no information regarding Flight JL-50. Confronting him with the Project A file, Shantanu forces Subroto to disclose the truth about Mitra's father's association with the feudal Project A, leading to more revelations. In spite of the government's abandonment of his father's work for numerous years, Mitra continued clandestinely. Years of meticulous research finally allowed him to decipher the secret to time travel. Shantanu, however, remained dubious. A loyal apprentice and aide to Mitra Dos confirmed that Mitra had completed the missing equations in an acquired time travel tome. This led to the revelation of wormholes located in the Earth's atmosphere. Mitra, Dos recounted, schemed to commandeer an airplane and steer it into one of these wormholes, with assistance from a young man named Partho Majumdar. Initially expected to accompany Mitra, Dos revealed he refrained due to a premonition of impending disaster, a prediction which proved to be true when the airplane, calculated to travel 35 hours into the future, instead fast-forwarded 35 years. Shantanu, despite the evidence, remained skeptical. Undeterred, Dos maintained his ability to prove the truth to Shantanu. He warned if Partho Majumdar was freed and rejoined Mitra, their combined knowledge could cause catastrophe. Their only chance to prevent this looming disaster was by entering the same wormhole and obstructing Mitra's original airplane hijacking. Although doubtful, Shantanu conceded to the plan. When they met Bihu, still struggling with her temporal displacement, she agreed to guide them to the wormhole, leading them there the following day, piloting a plane arranged by Gango. After braving treacherous weather and making an emergency landing, they were picked up by a conspicuously antiquated car. The unmistakable speech from the 1984 Indian Prime Minister on the car radio finally got Shantanu convinced of Dos's theory. Despite the sudden adjustment, Shantanu concurred on the mission to prevent Mitra's actions, but insisted on detouring for personal business before proceeding. In a gripping discovery, it is disclosed that he himself was a foundling, exactly pinpointing the date and yearly history of his abandonment at an orphanage doorstep. His sentiments for possibly revisiting 1984 are complex given the circumstances, amplified when he observes a vehicle dropping off his infant self. To ascertain the infant is indeed him, he cross-checks a locket around the child's neck, an accessory he currently possesses. Overwhelmed, he attempts to follow the retreating automobile in a desperate gamble to determine his progenitors, albeit without success. As dawn arrives, his confidant Mitra from 1984, named Dos, discloses his knowledge of an imminent meeting between Mitra and Partho at a local warehouse. Their only obstacle is transporting themselves to the location. However, Bihu, a part of their squad, offers a solution by suggesting they commandeer her car from her 1984 residence. She's utterly confident in her ability to infiltrate her past home unnoticed and locate the car keys. As they approach the location, with a sudden realization, he identifies the car designated for theft as the same one from his past, which left him at the orphanage. In anticipation of Partho and MRA's arrival, they wait patiently in the warehouse. During the interim, he curiously inquires if Bihu had ever laid eyes on her deceased offspring. Her negative response reveals she had never seen the child, as she had lapsed into unconsciousness post-birth. On awakening, she was informed of the unfortunate demise. Shantanu and Das confront Mitra and Partho upon their arrival, armed with a formidable weapon. Partho's minions begin a violent offensive, but Shantanu, due to his superior training, is capable of eliminating each henchman individually, ultimately executing Partho. Mitra then appears, armed against him. Before any harm can be done, Das steps in and disables Mitra. A decision to incinerate the project, A Papers, is undertaken, citing that the power they bestow should not lie with anyone. Das reveals that obtaining the documents and the time travel formula has always been his plan. This is why he convinced Shantanu to return to 1984, as the original formula documents were burnt in the JL-50 plane crash. He aims to acquire the formula and become the most powerful of the powerful. He confesses to exterminating Mitra upon his escape from a hospital in 2019 to cement his solitary ownership of this power. What ensues is a terrifying clash between Das and Shantanu. A shootout takes place between Das and Shantanu, where Das is severely injured. Shantanu burns the documents, putting an end to the project once and for all. Suddenly, an assailment of an intense, piercing sound starts to reverberate within the recesses of their minds. It becomes apparent that as JL-50 was never commandeered, their journey to the past was a mere illusion, causing them to exist as enigmas within their timeline. As the timeline begins to erase their anomalous existences, they find themselves abruptly transported back to the present day. Shantanu stirs awake on the unhampered A-26 flight, meeting Gango, a face familiar yet unrecognized due to the altered course of life. The altered timeline spells a future where Shantanu never became a member of the CBI. The butterfly effect unfolds as he reels from his encounter with an elderly Bihu, his mother, at an orphanage while he celebrates his birthday. It is revealed that Shantanu was left at the orphanage by Bihu's parents because they feared society would reject Bihu for having a child out of wedlock. Back home, Bihu's parents had the chance to reconsider their decision, and they told Bihu the truth about Shantanu. She went to the orphanage to bring him home. Informed about Shantanu's whereabouts, she fetched him, leading to a happy shared life. Every year, Shantanu returns to the orphanage with gifts on his birthday. His contemplative musing about an orphanage life without Bihu ends with her sobering response about the futility of pondering over events that never took place. Much obliged for delving into this story, as thrilling as it gets. If you savor our content, don't forget to subscribe and tap the like button on our channel. Feel free to suggest any movie you desire a recap of.